speaker, a guest speaker from the Eccles class, give our public talk, the first president, and then we are going to have our digging for historical gems part. Oh, well, I'm sorry, Los Ingobernables de Luna, Katie Luna is going to give our public talk. Then after that, our digging for historical gems part will be done by our dear friend, Mr. Graham Hagee. And last but certainly not least, our historical reading taken from page 322 will be done by another dear friend of ours, Miss Emma Trotty. So, as always, like I tell you, this is the absolute best thing that I can do for you as a teacher. It's even better than History Mania because our parents in the back know and our teachers here also know that public speaking is a skill that you need. And you definitely need it more than title belts at History Mania. So, I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm so proud to see our speakers. Let's invite up our first student speaker for this evening and give our attention to Miss Katie Luna as she delivers the public talk, the first president.
Please turn to pages 320 and 321. Is everyone there? The United States elected a president for the first time in 1789. The Constitution set up the system for election. The states chose representatives for a group called the Electoral College. It was the job of the members of the Electoral College to vote for the president. Everyone in the first Electoral College agreed with that George Washington was the only one for the job. Washington, however, was not sure he would succeed. He wrote, "My countrymen will accept too much from me." George Washington was the first president of the United States. He was elected by the Electoral College, and he was the very first president to do this. Please follow along on page 320, paragraph 2. In April 1789, Washington traveled to New York City, where the government met. He was greeted as a hero. An excited crowd watched his inauguration in New York City. An inauguration is an official ceremony to make someone president. Washington promised to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. He was elected in 1789. He was voted by the Electoral College, which is the same way Donald Trump became president. He was elected by the Electoral College. George Washington was nervous about being president because he was worried he wouldn't do a good job. Now let's look at page 321, paragraph 1. Follow along as I read paragraph 1. A inauguration is an official ceremony to make someone president. George Washington said to this, "Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States." In April 1789, Washington traveled to New York City, where the government met. He was greeted as a hero. An excited crowd watched his inauguration in New York City. An inauguration is an official ceremony to make someone president. Washington promised to this, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Please follow along. Now look at paragraph 2 and follow along. Every president since Washington has made the same promise. Congress created 3 departments to help the president run the executive branch. Washington chose people he trusted to run the departments. They were called secretaries. Thomas Jefferson became Washington's Secretary of the State. Congress created the 3 branches to help the president. The 3 branches are called the judicial branch, the executive branch, and the legislative branch. George Washington chose his secretary to be Thomas Jefferson. Extra info about our first president, George Washington. George Washington was born on February 22nd in 1732 in Westmoreland Country, Virginia. George Washington was the very first president of the United States. George Washington was mostly known for being a great army leader and victory in the American Revolution. After the war, George Washington settled down and married Martha Dandridge Custis. In 1775, they appointed George Washington as the general of the Continental Army. He led his army in victory in the war. During his serving time, there was mostly peace. George Washington served for 8 years, and he was an amazing president. Sadly, George Washington passed away on December 14th, 1779. He died of a throat infection. George Washington was a wonderful president. He is still remembered to this day. A loyal and grateful president, our first president, George
All right, Katie, we would like to really thank you for doing that part. It was a substitute part. I let her know that she was going to have to do it this morning, not only for Miss Lucas's class, but for my class later on in the day. So I am very appreciative that you were able to do that for us. Thank you very much. Some things that stood out about your talk. I noticed that your council point was for you to have fluent delivery. And that was one thing that really stood out because you weren't up here fumbling words. You knew what to say. You seemed very confident while you were giving your talk. You were able to give us your information. We all understood it. And what I really liked was how you took time to wait for people to get to the page numbers when you asked them to turn to a particular page for you to read. And one point, again, that stood out was how you connected past history to what's going on today. George Washington was elected by the Electoral College, and also the current president, Donald Trump, was elected by the Electoral College. That shows that what happens in the past still affects what happens today. So it's very nice for you to bring that point out. And also, what I enjoyed was the extra information that you brought out about George Washington, because sometimes when you read about George Washington, you think, oh, he was the first president, he thought he was the man, you know, he did everything right, he was okay. But you brought out how he was very nervous, and he didn't know whether or not he was going to be the right person for the job. And so those are the things that make this material more easier for us to understand, and it relates to us more, because just like how George Washington was nervous being president, I'm sure you were nervous giving that public talk, especially not in front of your class, but in front of another class. So let's all please give Katie a round of applause. All right, and now for the part that the audience loves, I'm sure, and the conductor loves even more. You guys spent all week trying to find out more information about what we were learning. Y'all all had your shovels out this week. Y'all all were digging. Well, we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to invite up our dear friend, Mr. Graham Hagee, to cover the part, Digging for Historical Gems.
Welcome to Digging to Historical Gems. I hope that, first of all, I hope you don't stain your suits or your dresses. So let's get started. Get your shovel out and flip to page 320. please. And sorry, my bad. I meant also read paragraph 2. May we have a reader for that paragraph? William.
The United States elected a president for the first time in 1789. The Constitution set up a system for the elections. The state chose representatives for a group called the Electoral College. It was the job for the members of the Electoral College to vote for the president. Everyone in the first Electoral College agreed that George Washington was the only one for the job. Washington, however, was not sure he would succeed.
Thank you, William. What was the Electoral College created to do? Avion?
The Electoral College was a group that voted for the United States president, and they represent the United States.
Great job. Rafi? What? Oh, no, I thought you were talking about question 3. Oh. Okay, Keely.
I'm not raising my hand.
Nobody's raising their hand. Come on. Sorry. I'm looking at this side of the room. Denim.
It was a group of people whose jobs were to vote for the president.
Great job. Ava?
The Electoral College is a group of people. Their job is to vote for the president, and that is their job. It is made up of representatives, which turn into the Electoral College.
Awesome, Nancy. I said the Electoral College was made to have the final decision on who the president would be, even if the people said different. For example, the recent election of Hillary Clinton with Donald Trump. Please flip to page 322. Paragraph 1 and 2, may I have a reader? And
The two cabinet members, Hamilton and Jefferson, often disagreed. Hamilton wanted a strong national government that supported trade and manufacturing. Jefferson felt that the government should be limited so that it cannot take away states' rights. He said it should support farming instead of trade. Jefferson and Hamilton both had followers who formed politic parties. A politic party is a group of people who share similar ideas about government. People supporting Jefferson formed the Democratic Republican Party. Hamilton's party was known as the Federalist Party.
great job. Jake? How do you know the question?
I know the question.
Okay. Mind if I read the question first?
Yes.
Thank you. Why did political party form during Washington's presidency? Jake.
To share similar ideas with the government, people supporting Jefferson formed the Democratic Party.
Good answer, Jake. Sam?
They formed parties because Hamilton and Jefferson never agreed. So people who supported Jefferson formed a group called Democratic, and the people who supported Hamilton formed a group called the Federalist.
Awesome answer. Thanks. To share similar ideas about the government. Simple but effective. Ashlyn?
I'll give a similar idea to the government.
I'm running out of compliments, so great job again.
Politic parties formed during Washington's presidency. because Jefferson and Hamilton often disagreed about what type of government there should be for the United States.
Great answer. I said 2 groups were made to represent two groups of people. One group supported trade and the other group supported farming. Question. What does this week's reading tell us about history? Sam?
It teaches me about George Washington when he was president. Did you know that George Washington did not have a middle name, and he did not wear a window, just his regular hair?
Keely?
This week's history teaches me about the Electoral College.
Great answer. Emery?
Reading teaches me about Washington's presidency and the Bill of Rights.
Good. William?
I can teach someone about George Washington's presidency and how the Electoral College was invented.
Good answer. I said he learned how scared George Washington was because the president is basically the face of the country. What points can I use from this week's reading to teach others about William?
I could teach them about George Washington and how he was a great leader and how he was the president of the United States.
Great answer again. Great answer again. Sam?
I could use that the Electoral College was how they elected the president at the time when George Washington was elected president. Also, I would tell them about George Washington's government system. Did you know that Washington was the foremost of the founding fathers and was elected general of the Continental Army? He was also the leader of the army that went to Yorktown and beat General Cornwallis's army in the last major battle of the war.
I don't have a compliment for that. Sorry. There's not really too many hands. But Amy.
I would tell someone about the Electoral College role in electing the president.
Great answer. You?
I can take out the 3 branches of government and the Bill of Rights.
Good answer. Or you? Nahum?
The 3 branches of government was split by the Constitution. What the parts of the government do, what the parts of the branches do, how the political party was formed, and the Electoral College.
You're a superstar. I said we learned how scared George Washington was and we also learned how sorry for technical difficulties. We also learned about how Jefferson and Hamilton's arguments. That concludes digging for historical gems. I think.
Man, oh man. Mr. Hagee. I thought that was a wonderful, wonderful part. Last week, well not last week, but 2 weeks ago when Mara first got digging for historical gems, I thought, oh man, that's going to be a very hard act to follow. I don't know if anyone is going to be able to measure to that. And yet, you knocked it out of the park as well. I really, really enjoyed your part. Some notes that I took. I loved how you had the great opening. You saw how nice everyone was dressed. And you said, well, you know, y'all are about to get dirty. I hope you guys have your shovels out. That gave me a little kick. That was a good little joke to start out. And, you know, it's important to make the audience feel comfortable, especially when you're doing the acting role as a teacher. This part is a big audience part, and sometimes it can make people nervous to raise their hand and comment when you have parents here and teachers and everyone's dressed nice and it's such a solemn occasion. But by coming up and saying something to get everybody a little relaxed, that's a very effective part of teaching. And it goes along with your counsel point. Your counsel point was visual contact. And it says, look at those to whom you are speaking, allowing your eyes to meet for a few seconds. See individuals, not the whole group. And that's what you did during your part. You made people feel special. You made people who I don't normally see comment all the time, you know, while we're having class. During your part, I'd have to say Will is a great example. Will was raising his hand on just about every single question, which shows, hey man, maybe you're a more effective teacher than I am, because I can't get Will to talk all the time during class. But you were able to do that. Some more notes that I took. I love how you commanded the part. You came up here. You know, you have several names. You're either Graham Hagee or you're the Graham when it's competition time. But I saw a new guy today. I saw Mr. Hagee, especially when you called out one of your peers for saying, how do you even know what question I'm asking and I haven't even asked it yet? I mean, that's an effective part of teaching. That is an effective part of being able to distribute information and to get it back. People need to wait until you ask the question so that you know that you're getting a correct answer. I want to give a shout out to the audience as well. I was not able to write notes for everyone's comments, but I really enjoyed Sam's comments, how insightful they were, the special facts that he gave about George Washington, for example, him not wearing a wig. William, just working hard, trying to read, trying to comment. Zane, Emery, Keeley, Jake, Nahum, our superstar. Those are just some of the notes that I took. And last but not least, Graham, there's just one phrase that puts your whole part into perspective. And you said it while you were up here. Simple, but effective. So I want to thank you for your part. It was very well done. And I know the audience wants to thank you as well. Man, oh man, it seems like as soon as we start these things, they're already almost over. And we have reached our last part on the public speaking school. But I know that it is going to be a very, very sweet, sweet part that will be given by our dear friend. It is our historical reading taken from page 322. Let's invite up our dear friend, Miss Emma Trotty.
Two cabinet members, Hamilton and Jefferson, often disagreed. Hamilton wanted a strong national government that supported trade and manufacturing. Jefferson felt the government should be limited so that it could not take away states' rights. He said it should support farming instead of trade. Jefferson and Hamilton both had followers who formed political parties. A political party is a group of people who share similar ideas about a government. People supporting Jefferson formed the Democratic Republican Party. Hamilton's party was known as a Federalist. Hamilton and Jefferson often gave the president opposite advice. For example, Hamilton wanted to start a national bank. He believed it would make the nation wealthier and stronger. Jefferson was against the idea. He said the government did not have the power to create the bank. Washington took Hamilton's advice. He approved the law that created a national bank. The National Bank controlled the money of the United States. Customers could keep money in savings accounts there. Today, a savings account is a way to earn money. The bank borrows from savings accounts to make loans. It earns money on the loans by charging interest. Interest is what people pay to borrow money. The bank also pays interest for the use of money to each person who has a savings account.
Hamilton and Jefferson compromised on some problems. Hamilton supported Jefferson's wish to build a new national capital on the Potomac River between Virginia and Maryland. The capital is the city where the government lives. In return, Jefferson agreed to Hamilton's plan to pay the national war debt.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. My goodness. Emma, what a fantastic reading. I mean, like, I'm happy I'm putting these things on YouTube now, because my goodness, people are going to be watching that reading for years and years to come. That was one of the best readings I've seen in all the public speaking schools I've done, including the public speaking school assembly that we had last year. I'm sitting there taking notes, and I'm looking at you while you're doing your reading. I felt like you looked at the audience more than you were looking at the book. And I'm shocked, because I'm like, how is she not messing up? How does she know what it's saying on the page and she's not even looking at the page? But I know how you were able to do that. Preparation and practice. I don't want to ask you how many times you read over this material, because I'm sure it's going to be a number that's going to blow my mind, because what I saw blew my mind. Some notes that I took. Audience contact, like I said before, was superb. Your reading, powerful. You had poise. Your delivery was extremely fluent. It did not seem like you were reading. It seemed like you were just up here talking. Just the way that you took command of the part, just like how all the students took command of their parts today, you showed that it mattered to you. You showed that you took it seriously. You showed that you had value in what you were doing and that you were proud of what you were doing. And, you know, you go into a job interview and they ask you to read something, or they ask you to explain yourself, and you do what you did up here, they might not even have a follow-up interview. They might just say, hey, you can come to work tomorrow. I mean, ask the adults in the room when you have time afterward how fantastic you did and what that means to your future, because how old are you, 9 or 10? You're 9 years old. You're 9 years old doing stuff like that. That's incredible. All of our students today were incredible. The fact that you are 9 and 10 years old doing what you did today with the preparation, the seriousness, the natural charisma, the confidence, you guys have nothing but bright futures if you keep doing whatever got you to this point. I am extremely happy to have the opportunity to be able to be your teacher. I'm extremely grateful that I was able to see this, that I was able to create an opportunity for you all to showcase your talents. And I know that we all are here in the room. I know the parents are happy. I know the teachers are happy. And as long as everybody's happy, then we know that we're doing good. So let's all give a big round of applause. Another successful public speaking school. And if it's one thing that I know you students do every time you have public speaking school, you make this time a very special time.